Hello there. Welcome to the first ever look ahead show. As we will no longer be wrapping up the wrap up of a wrap up. I feel like on Tuesdays and Thursdays it'd be good to bring some fans in and we kind of look ahead to Wednesday and Friday's show. So I'm joined. He used to be my Monday guest, but I guess is Tuesday cool now, Andrew?
Tuesday works for me. I have no life.
Perfect. So. I am now joined by Andrew Augustus of Kirk and Off. How's it going today, Andrew?
It's great. It's feeling good. It's a good Tuesday, a busy Tuesday. So I've never been more excited for a show in a while.
Very busy.
So it's a lot to hope and see, and it was fun to even watch the dozen today. So I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. But it was definitely an interesting kind of 24-hour news cycle, leaving the last show being like, all right, well, we know we have this phone call coming up with the lawyers and the Julie DeCaro situation, so that's going to be heavy on Wednesday. And then the dozen.
And that was kind of it.
Yeah,
that was kind of it. The dozen. And I mean, we all knew that the dozen was going to be talked about in some capacity. I don't think we knew it was going to turn into what it did. I mean, that was an all-time dozen episode. It is the most disliked on YouTube, the most disliked dozen episode in history. People are calling for syste to, get fired from her job, not only from the dozen, but from her job for this cheating. People are saying it's the most blatant, obvious cheating they've ever seen. I've had some people contact me and be like, hey, you got to check out Tommy. I think Tommy was cheating. It's just all over the place. So I know right as the dozen started, Kirk tweeted out that Adam Smith, will be joining the show tomorrow to talk about that. And I'm excited. I think that's going to be wild to hear his takes. I'd hope that syste would come on tomorrow to kind of defend herself. She really didn't defend herself today. She came into the office. She just kind of said like, hey, I leave my trivia skills for trivia, which, okay, I get it. But she really did pull some of those answers right out of her ass. So, I don't know, maybe.
I had this suspicions. Question 3 was you could see it just looked shady. She was so close. It's things we called Casey out on. She was doing a lot of things that a Minute fans called Casey out on last season. So it just looks suspicious. And Tommy, I will say this: Kirk just shared his article.
Tommy, I just read that. Very good. Very well.
A lot of good points. It's you can't disagree. He gives Kirk the credit on the questions he would have gotten right. Hell, he would have gotten like. How bad at cheating do you have to be to change a right answer to wrong?
Like the decathlon to the heptathlon, which I've never heard of before.
It's because the heptathlon only happens indoors, and they're not running indoor track in the Olympics.
Yeah, I have no idea, but it's the whole thing was just very. It was very entertaining to watch. I'm sure Kirk has he's all over the place on Twitter, whether he's defending Syste. He said this is leadership, but then he's tweeting about how Tommy's makes some very good points. I don't know. I think Trista's membership on Team Kirk is either solidified by this or she's out. I feel like it's either she's in it for life now or she's out.
The only way she's out is if she gets kicked out by Jeff and whatever happens in this vote. That's the only way I think she's leaving this team. Is it's going to be a removal by the commissioner and players association.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure Kirk will, light it up. I'm sure I'd love it if they could get Smitty and Trista on at the same time, because I don't know if you've ever heard like them on the Dave Portnoy show or them on any of the live streams, but they go back at each other like no one's business. They really, throw stones at each other's glass houses. It's incredible.
And of course, so, Kirk would do his best to diffuse any of that situation happening.
Of course, yeah. Kirk would never want any.
A very good middleman he would be.
Yes. So the main thing I thought was going to be talked about on Wednesday's show, and maybe it's still a main point. I have a feeling we're in for a long show on Wednesday. I'm not, there's nothing certain, but I have a feeling Wednesday's show could be up there in time. I'm interested to hear about Kirk's thoughts and Dave's thoughts on the phone conversation they had with Barstool lawyers on Monday right after the show. So that could lead into like a whole, what's it called, like open a can of worms just constant like more DeCaro stuff. Did she actually file a lawsuit? Did her lawyer say anything? So I think that could be like the big takeaway, like the big picture takeaway on the Kirk Minahan show could be like, what did the lawyers say to Kirk on Monday?
Yeah, and even the kind of like teasers that Kirk has said, and like even after the tweets that came out, it's like Nardini's got his back. So it's obviously your Barstool is going to be backing you guys 100% of the way. So I'm very curious to see what the actual truth is, because from that shitty story, the Barrett media shit, whatever that story was, saying that there is no lawsuit with the lawyer. There's a lot of confusion, but either way, it's going to be a 2-0 victory for Minahan if it does go to court. So it's going to be fine.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. It seems to be that's going to be major. It's going to be a Barstool, I want to say, heavy show tomorrow. I don't know if you've seen this, Andrew, but also big announcement today. The Arizona Bowl is now the Barstool Bowl for college football on New Year's Eve day.
Congratulations, Barstool. I am so glad I have Penn stock. Yes,
that is very exciting. I don't. If you saw this, I tweeted out, can we get an entire section of Minifans? Maybe get, 200-300 Minifans to go out there for New Year's Eve. We'll figure something out and get like a whole section. And Kirk said he will be in attendance. So that is very exciting to know that that throws in the possibility of a live show. There's all this other fun stuff. It's very, very exciting for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah, it's huge news, one for the company, but two, to even see Kirk playing along with them. Like, all right, let's rock and roll it. So it's good all around. And I think it'd be fun. And of course, anytime you have a good story like this, you have the other people that come out of the woodwork, and then of course, I don't even know his name. It's just so funny. Been following him. Comes out. Fuck, what's his name?
Let me look up his name right now. The guy who said like ESPN doesn't have a history. Stuart Mandel. Yeah, Stuart Mandel. He said this is
shocker.
Yeah. So.
You say like ESPN do what they're doing is business, and Barstool has the history of misogyny in this, and then it's just article after article after article.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm sure I believe Kirk tweeted that he reached out to this man to have him on, but I mean, if I'm a betting man, I'd bet he says no. He thinks he's above this, even though I believe I have more Twitter followers than this guy. Let me see. Oh no, he has like 200,000 followers, but who cares? I'll have more Twitter followers than
200,000
next week. But yes, the likelihood of him coming on, I see is very slim. But who knows? Maybe Dave pulled some of his magic. Maybe some of his, he kind of stretched the truth out there a little bit, like he's known to do to get big interviews. So that's another big point. Another thing that's Kim kind of talked about on Twitter. We'll get to the Curtis stuff in just a second. Is the whole Simone Biles sitting out today because of mental health issues. Kirk had a tweet saying like, good for her, it's so tough. And then there has been a couple people who have just completely shat all over her. One of those people being Turtle Boy. And Kirk actually retweeted Turtle Boy shitting on her, saying like, he was saying like, oh, how do we expect Adam Vinatieri to kick big kicks in the Super Bowls when it's super stressful or something of that nature. And Kirk just retweeted Turtle Boy with his own article saying about how he's taking, mental health leave. So I'm sure there's going to be some calling out on Turtle Boy on tomorrow's show as well.
And that's one of the reasons why I think everybody likes Kirk. It's because when he sees bullshit and hypocrisy, he calls it out both sides. Even if you're his friend, he'll call it out for you. And it just goes to truly show you the kind of character that he is as a person. So it's always funny when people eat their own words, and it's just hopefully people will learn from this to not be hypocrites. But hey, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see about that. The last thing I think is going to be a big subject tomorrow is the whole Chris Curtis situation. So apparently this happened on Monday while the show was being recorded. Chris Curtis put out a video of this girl taking a photo at Fenway Park, and he was like, this is Fenway Park in 2021, pretty much saying like, oh, look at this pink hat. She doesn't care about anything besides taking photos for Instagram. Very strange to be taking, like, to be at a public place. It'd be one thing if she was at like a funeral or, something, and she's posing with like peace signs and duck face or whatever the fuck. But I mean, she's at Fenway Park. She's having a good time. She wants to take a couple photos of her to, she just got out of a fucking pandemic, and God forbid these people have a good time. So he got completely shat on. It was reaching not only in EEI and even some Barstool people, but I saw some, just some normal baseball reporters or some female reporters that were just completely just being like, oh, this is fucking terrible. Like, oh, like, I can't believe, like, I saw one person posted like, well, here are my prom pics at Fenway. I'm sure this will really piss you off and things like that. So, and so this morning I had a call-in campaign to WEEI where we had people call in to try to ask about Curtis doing this. And I got on early on. It was like in the first 10 minutes, it was like 6:10. They just they dumped me and they didn't really mention it. And then Blind Owl, shout out to Blind Owl, he got on later on around 8:00. And even though they dumped it on the radio, I have it recorded where it's Curtis pretty much defends himself saying, this woman was taking so many photos that his mother had to like move seats. And it's like, no, okay, well, maybe. I don't know the whole thing. And then he pretty much defends himself saying it's a big nothing burger people are rolling into. And everyone on the Greg Hill show, this goes along with it. You can actually hear Greg Hill actually mock Kirk. I believe he's mocking Kirk for reaching out to Sam Kennedy and saying, how is this okay that WEI does this? And I think Kirk is just doing that because if this were to happen 3 or 4 years ago, like Sam Kennedy would have been all over this. This would have been, Shirley Luong would have wrote 50 million articles about how, these producer of popular morning shock jockey, practically sexually assaults a woman at Fenway Park. So it's like where's the consistency? And there is just Greg Hill just making jokes about this. So I don't know. I think that's going to be
hypocrisy. It's all the hypocrisy, and I think it's and everyone is always like, I've seen it with people. It's like, why does Kirk still hold on to this? They're done. Obviously, you want blah blah blah. They ruined his life, ruined his like name at points. Didn't have his back, and if you know anything about Kirk, it's 100% loyalty. If you're loyal to him, he'll be loyal to you. End of story. It just gets frustrating that there is this clear double standard and no one wants to admit it.
Yeah, it's. I see some people in the comments are saying that the Curtis thing is a nothing story. I mean, to me, it's not. To Kirk, it's not. So I think it's going to be. I really think you're blowing this way out of proportion. I can see how some people are taking that, but I just think it's going to be something that's going to be brought up on the show, and Dave will play sound and we'll react to all that. So I think that's kind of. I don't think I really missed anything unless something happens tonight or tomorrow morning. That's really going to be big on the show. But Andrew, got anything else that you believe or that's happening in the Minahan world? That
I'm just excited for a fired up Kirk tomorrow. It's gonna, you can see that he's gonna have that little fire, that spunk, and it's just he had it on Monday's show, a couple yelling outbursts, like that call on Monday with the grocery store is just a top 5 random call. Like you have that, and you have I'm dying of cancer. I don't know how he finds these.
It's people. Incredible. It's like I said before, they must be planted or something. Kirk must be paying like his brothers or something to do these calls and like not tell even me or Dave. So
it's just I listened to that call again, and then I'm doing a re-listen right now, so I'm back in January. I have to ask you, who is the greatest father of all time?
The greatest father? Oh, well, I used to say, like I made one thing about Kobe Bryant being the greatest father of all time, like 3 minutes after I found out he died. But I probably wouldn't say Kobe Bryant today.
Right now, that's why. That's the episode I'm listening to right now. It was really, I think, you're kind of like jumping to becoming more on a little bit of content, always knowing that we could pull you in after the voicemail was your big start, and then this list.
I'm telling you, I wasn't thinking content. I was just thinking, like you can ask Mike. I was legitimately thinking, I don't want to get too much into the Kobe Bryant stuff, but I was just thinking, holy shit, Kobe Bryant is dead. And I tweeted out like, fuck. I mean, I love Kobe Bryant. I mean, I mean, the man had his flaws, possible rapist. But he was a basketball hero of mine growing up. So, I mean, that was just my initial reaction was holy shit. And then I do think I deleted the tweet, which I shouldn't have done. When I realized, okay, maybe calling him the greatest dad of all time, but the whole girl dad thing was going on. So, we'll see.
It was just a funny moment in KMS history that I'm sure Tim and Canton has written down.
Awesome. So, thank you, Andrew. Listen to Kirkenoff. I don't know who you guys have on this week, but I'm sure it's going to be a blast. You guys are back, right?
Yeah, we're back this week. We'll have. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Blind Owl. So.
Oh, fun! A big player in today's news.
Had a good day. We'll talk a little prank phone call with him and other things.
Awesome. Well, we will talk to you tomorrow on the